All right, guys, today's a big day. You can see behind me, there's a miracle happening. The cows are actually on green grass in upstate New York, so it's a big day. We're gonna put the cows out here. We're gonna run them pasture to pasture. You can kind of see in that area right there. There's the cows, and we're gonna get them to that far pasture today. And in doing that, we're going to allow them to sort of snip the top of the grass. So they're gonna get a lot of high protein, a lot of nutritional value, and then we're gonna get them back on hay right after that. And by doing that, what we found in the past is when you put them on grass, they start sort of crapping out the grass. There's the post office guy, pretty quickly, and it runs right through them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the green grass in, and then we're gonna use some dry hay to bind them up a little bit. And then we'll let the grass recover, and then we'll do it again. And that'll be our cycle here for the first couple weeks of getting them on pasture and getting them reacclimated to, you know, what's gonna be their diet here for the next couple of weeks. But it just takes a little time to get them to acclimate, and that's what we're doing. So I'll be back soon. All right, so, you know, it's kind of cool when the animals are right in front of the house, you get a chance to really look at them. And, you know, as you can see, we have a pretty big herd out here in this one paddock, and then we're gonna move them to the next one. But we can really look at the animals and see who needs a little extra love and a little extra work. I mean, we have a lot of moms out there that have been getting sucked on pretty good by their calves. And these cows are just coming out of winter. So today's their first day that they're actually getting some really good nutrition and, you know, nutrient dense, rich grasses. So we're super pumped about that, and it's very exciting. And you can just go out there and hear them tugging at that ground. So they're gonna, like I said, they'll be out here for a few hours, then they'll move to the next one, then they'll move to the next one, then the next one, and then the next one, and then we'll bring them back over to that winter pasture over there. So that's what we're looking to do. And you know, the great part about this, when you rotationally graze the animals, is, you know, you can really prevent them from overeating and eating down one area too much. So I mean, they're going pretty hard at this right now, but you know, just after lunch today, we're gonna move them again, and they'll have another area they'll hit. So they'll get full pretty quick, and then they'll all be camped out and laying down and resting the rest of the day. So that's our plan here today. That's what we're working on. You know, I had a lady I spoke to this morning, very nice woman. She's celebrating her anniversary, and we just got talking about some of the other farms where she's bought meat from in the past, some of the bigger brands. And we were talking about cows ingesting, you know, corn or grain and things like that. And, you know, there's something that's happened in this country where this news amongst influencers has been spreading that sort of the only meats that people should eat are, you know, grass only meats. And I'm bringing this up now because I think it's a big deal and it's important to bring up. You know, when you see, especially in these regions, right, cows that are taking in grain and are taking in, you know, corn silage and such, they actually look like a much healthier animal. They're full. They just have a different build to them, and they look fantastic. And the meat is actually quite good as well. So, you know, in certain parts of the country, it is very hard to go on a 100% grass-only diet, especially through the winter. And the grass production in these regions just is not great. Now, I've brought this up in the past. I'm going to bring it up again. You can't forget that a cow has 4 stomachs, right? So a cow is the ultimate filtering machine. They also have kidneys, and they also have a liver. So those kidneys and liver filtering, the 4 stomachs are filtering and working with digestion as well, working to aid in digestion as well. So beef is very, very clean meat. And nobody really talks about that, but there's this idea that if a cow has a grain, or if a cow has corn, that is going to be passed on to the end user. And they've actually done studies that show that if anything passes through from the cow to the end user, it's in the micro. It is such a small, virtually untraceable amount that would be passed on, you know, to the end user, which is us. And if you think about that, we also have kidneys and we also have liver, and we are always filtering as well. And we're filtering environmental toxins, we're filtering toxins from foods that we eat, things that we smell, you know, just products that we clean with, right? We're all always filtering. So, you know, the risk of saying, hey, a cow had GMO corn, a cow had corn that at one point was sprayed. Realize this, the cow is doing the processing. Actually, the most dangerous thing that you could eat probably would be, let's say, a corn on the cob. And I know we're getting into that season, because can't forget, I'd probably say 95+% of the corn in America is sprayed. And when you eat corn on the cob, you're basically the one that is filtering that first. So when a cow takes in corn, or a pig takes in a corn/soy feed, yeah, if there's anything on that corn, that animal is filtering it through their filtering based organs, and then you're taking it and filtering it further. So the most dangerous is when you're eating, you know, like let's say strawberries that are sprayed, right? You're the first person to take that in, and you're the one that's filtering. Corn on the cob, right? You're eating that corn, you're the first one filtering. So just an important concept, because I think people are quite confused. And, you know, I always say my background's in nutrition and performance more so than it is just straight up farming. And you got to realize that we are filtering machines. And in filtering, you know, if we could have an animal like this filter first, it's going to put us in the best possible position. So I talk a lot about understanding food, but understanding it at a level of, okay, what's the most pure food? And, you know, beef is biblically pure. So, you know, they talk about, you know, eating beef, the 4 stomachs. Same thing with lamb, multiple stomach, multiple chambers, multiple abilities to filter. Believe it or not, pigs, not so much, right? 1 stomach. Chickens, I believe, are multiple stomachs as well, multiple chambers within the stomach. So all stuff to remember. There's the guinea hens as you're making food choices. And I tell you what, if you want to amplify your health and you want to amplify your life, start finding these single ingredient foods that are filtered and or pure and or clean. And if you just basically manufacture a diet filled with those things, you're going to feel pretty darn amazing. So again, just something to remember, that you know, grain feeding has gotten a bad rap, but again, I've seen animals respond quite well with some grain, and also with some you know, corn silage, corn. I mean, we travel all around the country and we look at different animals and how they're raised, and you know, it's not something that one should be always shunning and saying, you know, no. I mean, there's some great farmers out there that are doing some great things, and their choice is to use grain for finishing, and their choice is to use corn for finishing, and sort of a mixed ration. And I think their cows have done very well with that. So, you know, at our farm, you know, we're not about, you know, condemning what other people do in terms of their practices. Now, if you're abusing animals, that's a different story. But ultimately, everybody has their choice of how they raise their animals, and every region has different methods that should be used and are used to ensure that the animals are getting the most value and the most nutrition and the most health. So I think if you talk to any farmer, they want to do what's best for their animals, and we tip our cap to those guys that are doing that. So just something to remember, though. You know, there's a lot of influencers out there, a lot of people on Instagram and YouTube, and there's a lot of different opinions, but opinions are not always fact. They're opinions. So you got to think about things in totality. And I always, like when I coach and I work with people on their nutrition, we do things that make sense, and making sense and common sense is sensible. So that's how we choose to look at things here. And I want to always inform you, advise you, and educate you the same way. And that's what I talk to our customers about all the time. And realize there's a lot of good marketing out there. And, you know, even like, you know, there's grass finished beef that people talk about. Well, that doesn't mean that the cow didn't have any grain or corn in its life. You know, you could start it on grain and corn, and you could turn it over to grasses, and then you could finish it on grass. So it's grass finished. Or it could have a mixed ration throughout its life, and then the last month, the last 2 weeks, the last 3 months, you could finish it on grass and say it's grass finished. So just realize this. But here's the other side. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not like, you know, if you're poisoning the animals, that's a different story. But again, every farmer, you know, does what's best for their farm and for their animals. And if you see good, healthy animals that are strong and beautiful, the chances are that animal's been well cared for and is responding well. And even for us, you know, we're always going through our herd and saying who's performing and who's not, who's performing and who's not, and whoever's not, we send out, and whoever is, you know, we keep, we breed, we develop, we finish. So again, everybody's as long as you're working hard to do your best and bring your customers value, and most importantly, bring the animals a great life and great value, you're winning. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that perspective today, just on understanding the filtering system of a cow and the chambers that a cow has, and how healthy beef is, and the different ways in which a cow can be raised, can be fed, and can be finished. And sometimes those ways get a bad rap in the Instagram world or the influencer world, but that's not always the case, right? You could finish a cow different ways, and one isn't bad, one isn't good, one is not even better than the other. A lot of it comes down to preferred farming method and what's best for the animal and how the farmer wants the end product to taste. So I just wanted to share that with you. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great life. Stay strong, stay healthy. If you guys need any meat, down below, I got a discount code for you. Check out wearefreedomfarms.com. We're here for you. We'll ship the meat right to your house, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. See ya.